You wake up on January 1st, 2026, and there's this weird feeling in your stomach. Not quite dread, not quite excitement, but something in between. It's the same feeling you had last January and the January before that. That gnawing sensation that another year is starting and you're still in the exact same financial position. Still checking your bank balance before every purchase. Still calculating if you can afford that dinner out. Still pretending you're doing fine when friends ask about your plans for the future. But this morning feels different. There's an urgency in the air you can't quite name. Maybe it's the news about another round of layoffs at companies that were supposed to be recession-proof. Maybe it's watching your landlord raise the rent for the third time while your salary stays frozen. Or maybe it's that conversation at the holiday party where your successful friend mentioned they're buying their third investment property while you're still struggling to save for a security deposit. Here's what's actually terrifying. 2026 isn't just another year. It's the year when the gap between those who adapted and those who didn't becomes a canyon. While you're still playing by 2019 rules, wondering why nothing's working, there's a whole new game being played. And the people winning it, they're not smarter than you. They're not luckier than you. They just understood something that's about to become painfully obvious to everyone else. Think about it this way. 5 years ago, remote work was a perk. Now entire industries have restructured around it. 3 years ago, AI was a curiosity. Now it's replacing entire departments. 2 years ago, people laughed at digital assets. Now major corporations hold them on their balance sheets. The speed of change isn't slowing down. It's accelerating. And here's the thing that should keep you up at night. The strategies that worked even 2 years ago are becoming obsolete faster than you can learn them. But there's something else happening that nobody wants to talk about. While everyone's distracted by the latest get-rich-quick scheme or arguing about cryptocurrency, there are 7 specific moves that are quietly creating a new class of wealthy individuals. Not the flashy, Instagram wealthy types who rent Lamborghinis for photo shoots. The real kind. The kind who sleep well at night because they've built something unshakable. The kind whose income keeps flowing whether they work that day or not. The kind who view economic uncertainty as opportunity, not threat. Most financial advisors will tell you to max out your 401k, diversify your portfolio, and wait 40 years. They'll show you compound interest calculators and preach patience. They'll recommend index funds and dollar cost averaging. That advice made sense when careers lasted 30 years at one company and pensions existed. When inflation was predictable and wages kept pace with cost of living. But following that playbook in 2026 is like bringing a horse to a Formula One race. You're not just going to lose, you're going to get lapped so many times you won't even realize the race is over. The traditional path is broken. The degree doesn't guarantee the job. The job doesn't guarantee security. The savings don't guarantee retirement. The retirement doesn't guarantee dignity. Everything you were taught about building wealth assumed a world that no longer exists. And the brutal truth? Most people are still following a roadmap to a destination that's been demolished. They're still playing by rules written by people who retired with pensions you'll never see. The real secret isn't working harder. It's understanding that the entire game has changed. The metrics for success have shifted. The tools for building wealth have evolved. The timeline has compressed. There are 7 specific things that separate those who will thrive in 2026 from those who will merely survive. 7 moves that seem almost too simple when you first hear them, but create compound effects that reshape your entire financial reality. And no, none of them involve buying the latest meme stock, starting a dropshipping business, or selling courses about selling courses. That number is 7, but it might as well be the combination to a safe that's been sitting in front of you this whole time. 7 keys that unlock a different relationship with money, time, and possibility. Hi, I'm the Cat, and I spend way too much time thinking about why smart people stay broke. Not because I enjoy it, but because I've watched too many brilliant individuals work themselves into the ground following advice that expired a decade ago. I've seen engineers with genius-level IQs living paycheck to paycheck. Creative minds capable of changing industries stuck in cubicles that drain their soul. If you're watching this, you're probably one of those smart people. And if what I'm about to share helps you break free from that cycle, then subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Your future self will thank you. Hell, your present self will thank you by next month. Here's what actually happens when you keep following conventional financial advice in an unconventional world. Your brain literally starts working against you. It's not a mindset issue, it's neurological. When you're constantly in financial stress, constantly calculating, constantly worried about the next expense, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for long-term planning and creative problem-solving, starts shutting down. You go into survival mode. And survival mode is where wealth goes to die. Picture your brain in financial stress. Every unexpected bill triggers a cortisol spike. Every price increase at the grocery store activates your fight or flight response. You're not thinking about building systems or creating value. You're thinking about making it to Friday. Your mental bandwidth is consumed by immediate pressures, leaving nothing for strategic thinking. It's like trying to plan a cross-country road trip while your car is currently on fire. All you can think about is putting out the flames. Think about pushing a boulder uphill. That's what building wealth feels like when you're in survival mode. Every step forward requires massive effort. You're fighting gravity, fighting exhaustion, fighting the voice in your head saying, "This is pointless." One slip, and you lose weeks of progress. But here's where it gets really interesting. The people getting wealthy in 2026 aren't pushing harder. They've figured out how to change the angle of the hill. Better yet, they've figured out how to make the boulder roll itself. Something magical happens when you shift from survival mode to growth mode. It's not just that opportunities become easier to spot, it's that they start finding you. Your brain literally processes information differently. Where you used to see obstacles, you see possibilities. Where you used to see risk, you see calculated opportunities. Where you used to see successful people as lucky, you start seeing the patterns they follow. It's like switching from black and white vision to full color. Suddenly, paths that were invisible become obvious. Now, you might be thinking this sounds like typical positive thinking garbage. Just believe in abundance and abundance will come. But stick with me because there's hard neuroscience behind this. When you're in financial scarcity, your amygdala, your fear center, is hyperactive. It's screening every decision through the lens of, will this threaten my survival? That's why that $100 unexpected expense feels catastrophic, even when logically you know it's not. Your brain is literally hijacking your ability to think strategically. Studies from Princeton and Harvard show that financial scarcity temporarily lowers IQ by 13 to 14 points. That's the difference between average and gifted. You're literally thinking with a handicapped brain when you're financially stressed. The 7 things I'm about to share aren't just financial strategies. They're designed to rewire this pattern, to shift you from scarcity to abundance thinking. Not through affirmations or vision boards, but through concrete actions that create real results. Results that compound, results that transform not just your bank account but your entire identity. Because here's the transformation that really matters. Going from someone who manages money to someone who creates it. From someone who budgets carefully to someone who makes budgeting irrelevant. From someone who saves for emergencies to someone who prevents them through multiple income streams. From someone who fears market crashes to someone who profits from them. It's not about having more willpower or discipline. It's about building systems that make wealth inevitable. The crazy part is, once you make this shift, money becomes the least interesting part of your transformation. What really changes is how you see yourself. You stop being the person who can't afford things and become the person who chooses what's worth their resources. You stop asking, how much does it cost? And start asking, what's the ROI? You stop seeing wealthy people as lucky and start recognizing the patterns they follow. You stop feeling like an imposter in nice places and start feeling like you belong everywhere. Let's talk numbers, because this is where theory meets reality. Say you're currently saving $500 per month. Sounds responsible, right? At that rate, it'll take you 17 years to save $100,000. And that's assuming you never touch it for emergencies, never lose your job, never have unexpected expenses. But here's what happens when you implement even 3 of the 7 strategies I'm about to share. That same $500 deployed differently can generate $2,000, $3,000 per month within 18 months. Not through risky investments or magical thinking, but through leveraging skills and systems that multiply your input. Here's a real example. Sarah was saving 20% of her $60,000 salary, $1,000 per month. Good financial discipline, but she was still living paycheck to paycheck after the savings. She felt trapped between being responsible and actually living. She implemented strategy number 3, which we'll get to, and within 6 months had added $500 monthly income. By month 12, she was making more from her systems than her job. By month 18, she quit the job and tripled her income. Same person, same 24 hours per day, completely different results. The math gets even crazier when you factor in opportunity cost. That $500 you're diligently saving? If you're putting it in a savings account earning 0.5%, you're actually losing money to inflation. You're getting poorer by being responsible. But take that same $500 and use it to build income-generating assets, and you're looking at potential returns of 20–50% monthly, not yearly, monthly. The difference over 5 years isn't just significant, it's generational wealth versus generational poverty. Let's compare scenarios. Traditional path, save $500 monthly for 5 years at 5% annual return. Result, $34,000. New path, use that $500 to build systems that generate $2,000 monthly after 18 months, scaling to $5,000 by year. 3. Result, $180,000 in income generated, plus the assets still producing income, plus the skills you've developed, plus the network you've built, plus the confidence that comes from creating rather than saving. That's not including the compound effect of reinvesting profits or the value of the systems you've built. The acceleration is what people miss. Month 1 to 6 might only generate an extra $500, $1,000. This isn't working, they think, going back to traditional saving. But months 6 to 12 typically see 3 to 5x growth. By month 18 to 24, you're operating in a completely different financial reality. While your peers are celebrating a 3% raise, you're adding entire salary equivalents to your income streams. While they're worried about layoffs, you're turning down opportunities because you don't have enough time. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop thinking about money as something you save and start thinking about it as something you deploy. Every dollar sitting in a low-yield account is a soldier you've benched during the battle for your financial freedom. The wealthy don't hoard money, they put it to work. They understand that money at rest is money wasted. They see cash as a tool, not a security blanket. When this cascade starts, everything accelerates. Your increased income gives you breathing room, which improves your decision-making, which leads to better opportunities, which increases income further. Your confidence grows, making you more valuable in negotiations. Your network expands because successful people want to be around other successful people. Your problems shift from, "Can I afford this?" to, "Is this the best use of my capital?" It's a virtuous cycle that builds on itself. But here's where most people mess this up when they start seeing results. They get that first extra $1,000 per month and immediately upgrade their lifestyle. New car payment, bigger apartment, fancier restaurants. They increase their expenses to match their income, staying stuck in the exact same cycle, just with shinier toys. It's like finally losing weight and immediately buying a cake to celebrate. They mistake income increase for wealth building, not realizing they're just running faster on the same hamster wheel. The comparison that really drives this home. The average American spends $500 or $800 monthly on a car payment for something that loses value every single day. That car will be worth half in 5 years. That same money, invested in income-generating systems, could produce enough to buy that car outright within 2 years, and still keep producing income afterward. But we're conditioned to think the monthly payment is normal and building assets is risky. We've got it completely backward. Another trap, the "I'll start when" syndrome. When I have more money, when I have more time, when the kids are older, when I understand it better, when the economy improves. Meanwhile, people with half your intelligence and a quarter of your potential are building wealth because they started with what they had. They didn't wait for perfect conditions because perfect conditions are a luxury only the already wealthy can afford. The expertise trap is particularly insidious for smart people. You think you need to become an expert before you can start. You spend months researching, analyzing, preparing, reading every book, watching every video, joining every forum. Meanwhile, someone who knows 20% of what you know is already making money because they took action. Expertise is valuable, but in 2026, speed of implementation beats depth of knowledge almost every time. You can optimize while you operate, but you can't optimize what doesn't exist. Think about money differently. Right now, you probably see it as something you earn through time. Work 40 hours, get paid for 40 hours. It's a linear relationship that caps your potential at however many hours you can physically work. But wealth isn't built by trading time for money. It's built by creating systems that generate money independent of your time. The irony? We spend our most productive hours working for money instead of building systems that would pay us while we sleep. Here's the thing that makes this even more ridiculous. We've been programmed to think that wanting money is greedy or shallow, that good people don't care about wealth. But money isn't the goal. It's the tool. It's what lets you stop trading your life hours for survival. It's what gives you the freedom to solve problems that matter, spend time with people you love, and contribute to causes you believe in. It's what lets you help your aging parents without checking your bank balance. Staying broke isn't noble, it's a waste of your potential. The real paradigm shift happens when you realize that getting wealthy in 2026 isn't about working harder than others. It's about working on the right things. While everyone else is optimizing their resume, you're optimizing income systems. While they're negotiating for a 10% raise that barely covers inflation, you're building something that can 10x your income. While they're saving for retirement at 65, you're designing a life you don't need to retire from. While they're hoping their company doesn't have another round of layoffs, you're building anti-fragile income that gets stronger during chaos. So here's where rubber meets road. These 7 things aren't suggestions or nice-to-haves. They're the price of admission to financial freedom in 2026. Each one builds on the others, creating compound effects that accelerate over time. Skip 1, and the whole system weakens. Implement all 7, and you'll look back in 12 months wondering why everyone doesn't do this. You'll feel like you've discovered a cheat code that was hidden in plain sight. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Right now. Because every day you wait isn't just a day lost. It's compound growth you'll never recover. The gap between those who act and those who wait is about to become a canyon. And once you're on the wrong side of that canyon, catching up becomes exponentially harder. Which side will you be on? The 7 strategies are waiting. Your transformation is waiting. The only question is, are you going to be another person who watches this, nods along, and does nothing? Or are you going to be one of the few who actually implements and joins the new wealthy? The choice was never about ability. It was always about action. And that action starts the second this video ends. Your future self is watching. Don't let them down.